Have you seen Titanic?
No, and I didn't really want to either.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Have You Seen podcast, a podcast based around those film conversations you have with people where you say things like, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Each episode I'll be sitting down with someone and watching a film that one of us has missed out on and the other has recommended that we watch. Then we'll both bring our thoughts together to the table and discuss. It's kind of like when someone nags you to watch something for ages and then you watch it and it's crap, but on a podcast. So, Jodie, I asked you, have you seen Titanic? And you'd not actually seen it, had you? Had you seen any of it at all?
Yeah, I seen bits when it's on the telly. Or bits that were in the on video.
Yeah, because this came out in 1997. So what, you'll have been 8 at the time?
7 or 8.
7 or 8 at the time? Yeah, I think it was towards back end of 97. I remember getting it on videotape. I remember watching it. I saw it in cinema twice. And I'll always remember watching it in cinema. I went to Odeon in Leeds. I think it was one of the only times I actually went to Odeon in Leeds to watch it. But yeah, I've always liked it. So do you, seeing as it's the one that you've just watched for the first time, could you sum up the movie? Not just what the Titanic is, but the actual movie.
It's about a rich girl and a poor boy going on a boat. They fall in love. She's gonna she's gonna marry an ass.
Also known as Billy Zane.
And then boat sinks.
Boat sinks. That is a good synopsis. I mean, that's slightly better than mine. Mine were a bit more. I'd done mine a little bit more wordy, where I'd said it's a fictionalised story of a poor man called Jack, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who manages to win a couple of tickets onto the ill-fated Titanic with his friend. Well, yeah, wins that bit at the beginning.
Fictionalised.
Well, the love story is fictionalised. The sinking of the boat's not fictionalised, but the whole.
No, but then she's a real person.
No, she's not. So that's the whole thing. So the only people that were actual.
A real person.
No, so the only people who were actually real people were. You're gonna Google it now, aren't you, and try and prove me wrong? No, Rose didn't exist, and obviously neither did Jack. That is all completely fictionalised, and that's what I say. It's a fictionalised story of a poor man called Jack, played by DiCaprio, who manages to win a couple of tickets onto the ill-fated Titanic with his friend. Gets on board, and through a bit of a chance meeting with Rose, a good old meet cute, as they call it in the films, Rose, played by Kate Winslet, begins to form a romance, which is doomed to end in tragedy, as we know. Also while trying to avoid Rose's suitor, Cal, played by Billy Zane, and ultimately trying to escape the disaster that happens 4 days into sailing. The fourth worst maritime disaster of all time, which just becomes basically a backdrop for a love story of two completely fictional characters. So this is the first time that you actually watched it.
All the way through.
In full. I'm going to allow you to, and you can rant, you can moan, you can say that it was the greatest film you've ever seen if you want to, but what did you think of the film?
Boring.
So, it's 3.25 hours. I remember when we put it on, you were like, it's 3.25 hours? And I don't remember it being that long.
It felt longer.
But, so, more or less, the halfway point of the film is the point where it hits the iceberg. So there's basically, it always feels like there's two films in Titanic. There's the love story that could be set anywhere. You know, that's a story we've seen a million times, isn't it? Rich person, poor person, fall in love. They shouldn't really be getting together and stuff like that. That's an old story that's been done a million times in films. And then obviously the sinking of the Titanic, which is the big thing, the bit that costs the money, that costs all the James Cameron all this special effects money. Would you say, did you enjoy kind of the second half of it a lot more than the first?
No. Well, like I was saying to my mum earlier, I said only bit that were actually quite not enjoyable, but that were worth watching, is the bit where it all starts sinking.
So the actual bit, the actual near the end bit.
Well, yeah.
So once it kind of hits the iceberg and like the shit hits
It's not
the fan.
something I'm going to rush out and watch again.
Yeah, you see, I can. I've watched it a fair few times. I went to cinema. So I saw it originally when it came out, and then they re-released it for the 25th anniversary, and I took Althea to see it, and she loved it, and that was good seeing it again in cinema, because I think especially when it gets to that second half of the film, and kind of all the water's rushing in and everything's really going tits up. That's when I think that the action sequences come through, and it's something that James Cameron I think does really well. He loves a good action sequence, doesn't he? I mean, you'll know from one of your favourite films of all times, James Cameron, which is Aliens. And he is good at doing the action stuff. Is James Cameron? So I think he was the right person for this type of film. Cause I think before he'd done your big blockbusters like Aliens. He'd done Terminator 2. That he were.
Didn't he do both Terminators?
No, he doesn't. He didn't do the first Terminator. He only did the second one. I know you look like you want to Google that then, but the first Terminator is not James Cameron. I don't think. I can't even remember who it is now. This is man looks up things on internet whilst on a podcast, and there's going to be people who are probably shouting at me and saying it's obviously him. Oh, it was James Cameron.
I told you.
Wait a minute, did James Cameron do both?
I haven't even watched them.
Did
and
James
I
Cameron
know both of them were James Cameron.
So why then in this? Do you know that's blown my mind? Because I've not seen the Terminator films for years, and I always thought that he only did T2.
No, I knew he did first one and second one. So that's because I said that he didn't.
Of course he did, because he met Linda. He met Linda on first one, didn't he? He met his wife.
Oh, Linda. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, Linda Hamilton.
That's his wife?
They either got married or they were together. But they got together on Terminator. Of course they did. Why did I think first Terminator
got
one?
divorced in 1999.
And then that now, because the reason why in my mind it were only Terminator 2 were because the scene in Scream 2 where they're doing the debate in the college classroom about sequels.
Yeah, but he also gets stuff wrong in that. So
he does get stuff wrong in that.
He gets the quote wrong in Alien, so don't go by that.
He does, yeah, because then there's the line, because he says something sort of about T2 and then Aliens, and he says James Cameron rules.
Yeah.
So that in my mind, and just while we were having that conversation, then had set in my mind that Cameron were T2 only. Anyway, so he did the Terminator films. Mm-hmm. He did do those big films. The Abyss, which he worked quite a lot. Have you not seen The Abyss?
No, I don't want to either.
No, I won't put you through that. I know this is a podcast of making people watch films that
Well, make someone else watch it.
It's alright, because I'll probably just make you watch Avatar instead.
I've seen Avatar. I don't need to watch it.
Have you seen Avatar?
Yes.
And I think, but with Titanic, I think he was well placed to do that kind of big extravaganza type film, because he does know how to do it. What do you think to kind of like the casting of DiCaprio and Kate Winslet back in the day? Because this one,
Dave, I was 8.
Well,
so
yeah,
I
you
didn't
were.
even know who Leonardo DiCaprio were.
Yeah, this is true. So obviously, I'd not seen DiCaprio in anything at that point, because I don't think I'd seen the Romeo and Juliet film at that point, which I think he'd done just before Titanic, and I'd definitely not seen What's Eating Gilbert Grape, which was, he was very young when he did What's Eating Gilbert Grape, which is an amazing film. And it's weird because back when he did Titanic, it almost felt like he became kind of like this heartthrob character. Not character, but he just became a heartthrob. And by doing Romeo and Juliet and Titanic back to back, it almost felt like you were pigeonholed in that kind of, this is what Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be. He's going to be like the good-looking young guy who's going to get all those big parts. And it wasn't until he started, he did like, not so much The Beach, but maybe Gangs of New York, and then The Departed, that I think everybody started realising how good an actor he was, and it wasn't just kind of the pretty face that he had been. But when you go back, I know you've not seen it, but What's Eating Gilbert Grape, the Johnny Depp film back in '93, he is phenomenal in that, and he's a young kid in that, and he puts in a really good performance. So I like DiCaprio. I think some of the stuff that he's done later on have been really good. I know he fell into a bit of doing. He always does the big blockbusters, so like Inception and Wolf of Wall Street and Django and stuff like that. He became like the go-to guy for the big Hollywood things. But I think he's got the acting chops to do it. But I don't think those acting skills are used in Titanic. Do you?
Can't say I paid that much attention to it.
I don't think it was a testing part, was it?
Well, no, not really.
But I think there's probably more focus when they were making it, not on making sure that the love story were intact, as they were making sure that you were getting the Titanic sinking.
Yeah, but all we know is what happened when it sank. We don't know what happened up until then, so they've got to make something up, or it's going to just be a 45-minute film.
That's it. There's got to be with a film like this. There's always.
I don't know why it needs to be 3 hours.
But I think it works in that you've got an hour and a half of building characters, and you sat there shaking your head. You just didn't buy into it at all, did you?
No, I just don't see why it needed to be that long.
But I think that, so I believe that the actual, from the moment it's the iceberg until the moment that the boat goes under the water, that is to the second the actual length of time that it took from hitting the iceberg to sinking in real life. Obviously, when they've done simulations, they don't know exactly. But that's what James Cameron did, and I think that's a really good attention to detail. But that means he had to have literally an hour and a half of film just on that event.
But then you didn't need to go that long for the beginning. You didn't need to have an hour and a half on top of that. You could have done at least, like, I don't know, another hour. So, or not even that, like 45 minutes of, like, maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that at the beginning, what happened before that, everyone having a good time, and then the disaster. You didn't need the hour and a half before that of watching them go on there, watching their relationship, watching them shagging a car.
Shagging a car.
I didn't see the point in it.
But don't you find...
And also, it's not like it's going to be a surprise, because we know what happens at the end of it anyway.
We do, yeah, but so obviously you know what happens. So obviously it's a common thing now. If somebody says, "Oh, you're going to watch Titanic," it's like, "Oh, you do know what boat sinks at end." It's like, we know that's the whole thing. But you didn't know, and I know that they're fictionalised characters, but you didn't know what would happen to Rose and Jack.
Which is exactly, because why played no part to what happened at the end of the film anyway. They played no part to the boat sinking, so they might as well just not have been characters. They might have just been random stuff that happened before, people having a nice time, and then the disaster. They literally made no impact to the film.
Right, okay. So I'll call you out on this then. And you like, what's the disaster film that you like?
I don't like any disaster films.
You do?
Day After Tomorrow.
Day After Tomorrow. So Day After Tomorrow is mainly just utter carnage that's happening. But then there's a lot of Day After Tomorrow is Dennis Quaid looking for his son and trying to rescue his son.
That bit I'm not bothered about. It's the bit before, because that's what would happen. Before that, they would notice the climate change, they would notice that, and they would notice that, and this is what would happen. Again, it's like I've told you before. It's like other stuff. Some stuff don't need to be in it. I don't care about that stuff. And it doesn't need to be 3 hours long because we're watching them fall in love, which didn't matter in end anyway because he fucking dies.
But don't you? But from a film point of view, so if the film was literally just people getting on a boat, showing a couple of people having
I'm
meals.
saying have some main characters, but why did it need to be a love story?
Because then I think it makes you care for those characters.
I didn't though.
Well, yeah, but you don't because you didn't buy into any of the story, did you?
Well, no, because it didn't need to be that long. It didn't need that. It didn't need it. Yeah, I'm saying have some main characters in it. What happens? But it could have been from the captain's point of view, or from that guy who created the boat. It could have from his point of view, and he gets off at the end.
Yeah.
So it could have been from his point of view and what happens to him during that, not fictional characters that meant nothing to the story.
But then I think so. I know exactly what you're saying. But then, if let's say you're James Cameron, and you're saying, right, we need to get people to come and watch this film. Are you gonna get enough people? Because bear in mind, this was.
I don't know why it needed to be a film in the first place.
Well, this was until what I can't remember what point it was. I think it was until Avatar came out. Yeah, so it is now still the fourth highest grossing film ever. So it's earned more than every other film apart the only three films that have earned more money. Can you guess what the other three films are that have earned more money than Titanic?
Avatar
is one of them, and Avatar 2 is one of the others. And can you guess what the second film is? And it's not a James Cameron film. Because he's got 3 of the top 4. A massive superhero film.
Is it Endgame?
Yeah, it's Avengers, yeah. I think it's Avengers Endgame. Like Titanic was made in the cinema $2.2 billion, which is ridiculous. But do you think... I don't think that the film would have made that much money if it had just been effectively a documentary of what happened, like a dramatisation of the actual events.
Well, maybe not, but it don't appeal to everyone.
No, but I think the draw of Titanic.
I'm not into romance stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people are, and I think that's why that's in there, and I think that's what makes it really good, because there is an old version of there's been other versions of Titanic. There's been like German versions and stuff like that. There's been ones where I believe that there were one where it suggested that it had that the Titanic had actually been sunk by a submarine, and it were all war propaganda. Yeah, it's crazy. But one of the most notable ones, one that I've actually not seen, is called A Night to Remember. That covers the events, but on a slightly different scale. But I love it, and I think it's a great story. I think you get I personally get invested in the characters. I find it. There's one bit that I find really sad, and it was the bit when it showed the old couple cuddling, and the mum tucking the kids into bed, knowing that basically they were about to die. But then again, I've got a heart you haven't. Have you?
Well, I have, but certain stuff.
Yeah, like a black heart. So I found that, because I find that sad, and the music does get me in Titanic as well. And I know you've just rolled your eyes, but it's not just.
It's in Jurassic Park as well, so I don't mean nothing.
It does, yeah. But I find that there's certain pieces of music that in films can get the emotions going. And I know you, because you roll your eyes, you laugh at me when I cry at stuff, don't you? You laughed at me when we watched this because I was crying when, and I knew it would come in, and the music were playing, and it's not just that piece of music that it's not just the song that Celine Dion did, because the song's not actually in the main part of the film; it's in the end credits.
Well, no,
but the tune is.
I'm gonna say, but there's like rephrased version.
Yes, there's so James Horner's score throughout is very much, you know, that it's a theme. It's basically the Titanic theme that runs through it. So I'm going to quiz you now. How many Oscars do you think Titanic won?
Oh, I don't know.
How many Oscars would you have given Titanic?
No.
But how many do you think it won? Because it's actually got the record for the most number of Oscars won.
What about 20?
No, it's got it was nominated for 14 and it won 11. So we'll just run through them and see. I'll give an argument of why, because I mean you're not fussed about these type of things, but like it won Best Picture. It is a great film. It was easily best film of the year. Best Director, your best film and your best director go hand in hand. James Cameron did a really good job with it, so it makes sense. Best Cinematography makes sense on a film like that because it looked good, and that goes hand in hand with the Oscar it won for Best Art Direction for set decoration because it looked like you were on Titanic. You know what I mean? It looked great. Best Costume Design, obviously, that's a given. Best Sound, because once it gets to everything breaking apart and all that, the sound's perfect. Best Film editing, sound effects, visual effects. Yep, obviously for when it's going down at the end. Best original, it won Oscar for Best Original Song, so Celine Dion won it for My Heart Will Go On. And it won the Oscar for the Best Music. The three that it got nominated for, and it didn't win, was Kate Winslet were up for Best Actress, and she was beaten by Helen Hunt in As Good as It Gets. And the old woman, Elderly Rose, was up for an Oscar for Best Actress in a Supporting Role, and it was also up for Best Makeup as well. Interestingly, but not surprisingly, DiCaprio were never nominated for this. But I'm not surprised because for me, the acting in it isn't brilliant. It's not an acting film, is it? So I think that the thing it won it for all the filmy type ones, all the filmy type Oscars. But yeah, I love it, and I always will, and I'll always go back to it as being probably one of the biggest and best 90s films. But you'd probably never watch it again now you've seen it, would you?
No.
Is that you're done with Titanic?
But then again, most of Oscar winning films I don't like anyway.
A lot of the Best Picture films. So at one point I was trying to watch all the Best Picture films that I've not seen, and there's a few that I've not seen, and some of them I've not seen because I look at them and I go, I cannot be arsed watching 3.5 hours of people talking. And I know I should do, and there's some that I really should.
You don't want to watch them, don't watch them.
Yeah, but I want to see why they won the Best Picture. Because some of them, like for example, I were always annoyed at the Oscars that year when La La Land got announced as winner of the Oscar for Best Picture, and then it was a cock up, and it was actually the other film that had got it. I've totally forgot its name now, and I've not seen that film. And
It's not about a moon.
Moonlight.
Yeah.
So it's not about a moon, but it's called Moonlight. Yeah. And I've not seen it. And I really feel like I should watch it because it's probably an amazing film. But I think in the back of my head, it beat La La Land that year and I'm still fuming over it. So, in terms of disaster films then, is Day After Tomorrow the only one that you actually like?
Well, one I can watch, yeah.
So like Deep Impact?
Armageddon. It's been a while since I've watched Deep Impact. I'm not much of a fan of Armageddon.
Oh, you see. It's one of my films, is Armageddon, isn't it? I'm trying to think of other disasters because obviously things like Godzilla really is a disaster film.
It's a creature feature.
Well, I suppose it is a creature feature. Yeah, that and Cloverfield.
I love Cloverfield.
You do love Cloverfield.
I love Godzilla.
I'm trying to think of other there's some of the old disaster. There's some old disaster films that are amazing. So you won't have seen these. There's the Towering Inferno, that is an old classic. That is phenomenal, and that's just exactly what it is. It's just a big high rise building that sets on fire, and they've got to try and get out of it. Then there's things like Earthquake, so the original Earthquake film that was so good it had a ride in
I've seen Volcano.
Universal. Oh, Volcano with
And Dante Peak.
Yes, yeah. That was the time period, wasn't it, where different studios were releasing very similar films. So Dante's Peak with Pierce Brosnan and Volcano with
Tommy Lee Jones.
came out at very similar times, I believe.
Yeah, so did Deep Impact.
Deep Impact and Armageddon were the other one.
I can't remember who was in Deep Impact though.
Deep Impact is Tia Leone and Morgan Freeman.
Oh, okay. I think I've only seen it once.
Yeah, but I was always a massive, massive Armageddon fan. And I remember going to see both of them at cinema and just loving Armageddon way more than I loved Deep Impact. To Armageddon. Yeah, just the one song. Although there is actually quite a good few songs.
I meant Aerosmith.
Yeah, there is a few good, decent songs though in Armageddon. So, in summary, you're not a fan of Titanic?
No. Too long, too boring. We know what happens.
Well, there's something you can put on poster. Too long, too boring. We know what happens. So thanks for listening to this second episode of the Have You Seen podcast. Next week, I'm looking for people who want to come on and test me. If you want to suggest a film that I've not seen and come on and we'll talk about it next week, then we'll do that. What, have you got one?
Yeah.
Oh, you were nodding at me then. So, what are you? So, what are you? Right, hang on. So, you've got to ask me in the proper way. You've got to ask me, have you seen? And I'll tell you if I have not. And then see from my face whether I'm going to enjoy watching it or not.
Have you seen Dragonheart?
Oh no, I've not. But I know that it's one of the only films that breaks you. And I've never seen it. Is that what's his face? Dennis Quaid.
Pete Postlethwaite.
I love Pete Postlethwaite.
What's her name? From Saw.
Yes, Dina Barrett, Dina Mendes, something like that. Dina Meyer.
Yeah.
Dina Meyer, yeah.
And who else?
Sean Connery, isn't it?
Sean Connery does a voice.
Yeah.
And Lupin.
Oh, yes.
I always forget his name.
David Thewlis.
That's one.
Well, there we go. I was totally planning the next episode being somebody else coming on, but seeing as you've decided that you're dropping Dragonheart on me, it looks like episode 3 is going to be me watching Dragonheart and talking about it. Now, the thing is, if it makes you cry, I expect I am going to be absolutely broken out.
I try every time.
So don't spoil it because I don't know what. But something must happen that if it makes you cry, it must be bad. So yeah, that were a bit out of blue, and that's kind of what this is all about. It's that thing of when something just comes up and it's like we'll do that next. But I am still inviting people as well. So if you've got a film that you love and you want to ask me, have I seen it? Ask me. Drop us a message. Just say to me, Dave, have you seen whatever? And if I've not seen it, I'll watch it with you. We'll come on and we'll talk about it, and then I'll set you one as well, and we'll see if we can get other people to get involved. This doesn't have to just be me and Jodie all the time.
Please, someone else do it. Please.
We'll see what we can do. But thanks for listening. Give us a like and a subscribe and all that thing. Comment away on the posts because it all helps. Everything gets seen. It's much appreciated. Thanks for listening, and we will see you for the next episode.